Hi, I'm Alison Bush, the Cake Doctor. I'm going to show you how to make lilies today, stargazer lilies. They have been my nemesis for years, to the extent that my son said to me the one day, "Mom, why is that the dogs have had your flowers? There's stuff everywhere." And I was like, "No," I threw it at the wall in temper. So I've now mastered how to do these flowers, and in fairness, they are beautiful. They really are. And even better, you only need one or possibly two on a wedding cake for it to look fantastic, so you're not making bucket loads. I'm going to take you through it step by step, and this is how I do it. Other people have different ways, but this is what has worked for me, and trust me, I've tried every other method. Okay, I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we are going to be using, these are Casablanca lily cutters, large cutters. These were from Windsor Cake Craft, and as you can probably see, they cost me £1. This is slightly more expensive. This is a veining set. They're about £20. I think I got it from Squire's Kitchen. I'm sure I got it from there. If Squires don't have it, then I know that Sugar City do. So, but they're about £20. But if you're going to make them, they're worth it. Okay. The other thing you'll need is a little bit of pollen. You can buy Sugarcraft pollen, and they come in little bottles. But you can make it yourself. This is just semolina that I've put a little bit of, I think it was egg yellow dusting powder in it. That's it. And semolina costs like £1 in Asda for a great big box. So, you know, it's worth doing it yourself. Don't be buying it. It's not worth it. Okay. Okay, the very first thing we're going to do is make the stigma of the lily, which is the bit that stands up in the middle. So I've taken a half a length of 20 wire. You need the 20 because this is going to be the center. This is what all your other leaves and things are going to be fitted around. Okay, I'm going to put this on here, and I'm going to roll it down. Okay. Okay, I might have put too much. I think I'm going to pinch a bit of this off, a bit too much. There we go. So roll this down. And as you can see, I'm leaving the top quite fat, and there's a reason for that. Okay, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flatten that top with my finger so it looks a little bit like a nail. Okay, I'm then going to pinch into this. I can't do this. Okay, pinch into it like that, and again. And then again. So you're going to get a sort of a three-pronged top to it. Okay, obviously I just did that very quickly. But as you look at it from the top, it should look a little bit like a propeller. Okay, now this is a little bit big. I've done it a little bit too big. It needs to be about 2 inches long, which is why you can pinch off the back. Okay, this needs to dry. You can't do anything else with this now. It needs to dry completely. Okay, so here's one I made previously, just to show I can show you what it looks like. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is take a quarter length of 30 wire. So this is really thin, really bendy. And we're going to actually make our filaments. So you're going to bend the wire across like that, and then you're going to bend it back the other way. So you get a T shape. You see how that's a T shape? Okay. You then take a small piece of paste. Oops. And you are going to attach it to that wire like so. Okay, you then use the back of a scalpel just to mark in a line across the top. Okay, that needs to dry completely, because the next bit requires you using your pollen. And all you're going to do is wet this all over. You want it damp, not wringing wet, but it does need to be properly damp all over. Otherwise the pollen won't stick to it. You'll know if you've missed a bit because you'll have a bold patch. Okay, and then you're literally going to dip this into your pollen. There you go. That's the, and you need 6 of these. So it's 1 center, but 6 of these. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is actually going to dust these. I have some sugar flare dust. We have red and we have spring green. So with a big brush, I'm going to use the spring green, and I'm going to dust this all the way over just to the top. Don't worry about doing the end there, but just make sure it's completely covered all the way to the top. Like that. Okay, and then with a different brush, I'm going to pick up some red and I'm going to dust the top of it like that. So just the flat top half needs to be green. It needs to be red. The rest of it is green. There you go. That's your stigma done. And to do the filaments as well, we're literally just a bit of green down the length of it. Don't be too precious about it. It doesn't have to be all over, just the length. Okay, so I'll show you how to do that, and then I'll show you how to put the centerpiece together. The next thing we're going to do is actually start taping our stigma, our stamen around our stigma. So I start off with a piece of florist tape and stretch it to get it going, and then each of these should fit roughly the same height as the top. Okay, so adjust it so they're almost the same height, and then just tape it in. I find it's easier for me to do it if I work opposite each other. So I put 2 in, I'll put the next one in here, because you want them evenly spaced, so that that one will go in there. So I've got 4, and then I'm going to put an extra one in there, and then the last one will go in there. And at the moment they're really tight around this centre, but we're going to wiggle with that in a minute. Okay, so I'm just going to take these in. I'll just do that top bit again. There we go. And then our next job is to bend these outwards. So you're just going to give them a bit of a bend. So I find the easiest way to do it is pull it out and then run my finger over it. So I'm pulling it and bending it outwards, and then you sort of almost get like a cage effect. If I turn it that way, you can see what I mean. That's how you want the centre to be. So that centre is ready to go now. We're going to make our leaves next. Okay, so to make the leaves, we're going to need 3 of each leaf, each petal. So you're going to need half a length of 24 wire for each one. I'm going to cut this out, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to attach it. So let me just cut that one out. Make sure it's cut through. So I want 3 of these and 3 of the other ones. And as I've said before, guys, if you're going to cut out more than one, make sure you've got something you can put it in, a plastic bag or a box, so it doesn't dry out. Okay, So let's take these out. I'm going to put these back in the box so they don't dry out on me, and I'm going to pinch a bit of that paste. There we go. So that's going in the box. These are going flat in the box as well so they don't lose them. And I'm going to come back to that one. Okay, so next thing we need to do, now there's probably a fancy name for this. I've heard it called rock and roll. I've heard it called making a twiddly. So it's whatever suits you best. So a little piece of paste on the end there, and I'm going to roll this down. So you're literally working it down the length of the wire. It needs to be 2/3 or even 3/4, sorry, 2/3 or 4/5 of the length of that petal. Okay, that's about the right length. So you don't want it too fat. So I'm just going to work off the excess, just winding that up to the top so I can pinch it off. There we go. So that's got rid of that. And then what we do is we take our cut piece. We're going to put some glue on it down the length like this. And you're going to attach that to the back of there. Okay, now I have tried all sorts of methods for doing this. I've tried putting a vein up the middle of it and then sliding the wire in, and I've smashed so many over the years, but this works. What I'm then going to do is I've got my two halves. Now this side has got the groove in it, this has got the groove out of it, so I'm going to put this groove into that one, flip it over, and then I'm going to put this one over the top, and we're going to squeeze. Okay, very gently take it out. Now all I'm going to do, just to finish it off a little bit, is I'm just going to thin that edge a little bit with a tool. And the other thing that I'm going to do, and as you can, before I do anything else, as you can see, that twiddly bit that we put on the back, you can barely notice it, it becomes a vein, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to bend this slightly over my thumb, so it's bending outwards, okay? And I'm also going to pinch it into the shape I want it in. The other thing that I'm going to do is get a pair of little snippy scissors, and I'm just going to make little, tiny little snips into this. I'm not cutting through, I'm just nipping at the paste a little bit. Nothing major, just either side of that vein. Okay. And so I'm going to bend that over my thumb a little and smooth it into place. That needs to dry. Now you need 3 of this size and 3 of the smaller one. Okay, so the last thing we're going to do really is we're going to paint and dust our leaves. So I've got here, I've got egg yellow, I have got lemon yellow, and I've got some red. I'm going to use the red in a little while. We'll start off with the lemon yellow. And this is very, very simple to do. All you do is with a bit of lemon yellow, very lightly, just dust up the centre piece there. Okay, just up that little centre, like so. Okay, and then with a little bit of the egg yellow, we are just going to put a little bit down this bottom bit, just to darken that bit there. So only the bottom, you don't need to go very wide with it, and you stick to the vein. Okay, so you get a nice graduation of colour. Okay, next thing we're going to do is using a bit of alcohol. That's just gin in there, but a little bit of alcohol, a little bit of dust in the lid, tiny drop of alcohol in there. The reason we do it in the lid is that the alcohol will evaporate, so you don't lose any of your dust. Okay, so I'm just going to give that a bit of a stir with the end of a cocktail stick. Probably need just a touch more booze in there. There we go. And then I'm going to cut the end off, the other end off the cocktail stick, like that. I'm going to dip that into this paint, and I'm going to randomly put dots of red paint on this. Stick in sort of to roughly either side of the vein, with more down the bottom than the top. You could do it with a paintbrush, but the problem is with a paintbrush the dots get quite big. So doing it this way will actually keep it nice and tight. Okay, so I'm going to do that for all of them, and then we're going to put it together. Okay, the last little bit that we need to do is to tape this together. I've cut some lengths of florist tape in half, obviously on an angle like we usually do. And we're going to tape them in one at a time. Now you need to fit the 3 big ones in first. So start this off with a little bit of tape around the centre. Oh, missed it. There we go. Okay. Now the trick with these is bend your wire out first. So you bend it that way so you can fit it in and bring it round. Okay. My next one, bend it that way first, is going in there. They will wiggle around a bit, but that's the beauty of this. You can put them in the position you want them in. Okay, bend that one there. So if we evenly space these out, let's get some tape on this, tape them in place and then wiggle them to where I want them to be. Move that lavender before I break it. Okay, so we then start adding in the smaller leaves, petals, sorry, smaller petals. So bend the wire and fit it into the gap. Okay, so it should go big petal, little petal all the way around. I'm going to put one in here, just in there. Take that one in. And big petal, little petal, big petal, there it is. It just needs to come that way a little bit. And turn that there. And that one should go in there. So if I tape this in, tape the whole thing to make it nice and secure. Starting right at the top, make sure all those petals are nice and securely in place. There we go. Give them a bit of a tweak into the correct position. And there you go. There's your stargazer lily. How pretty is that? And I didn't have a temper tantrum. I haven't thrown anything at the wall. Let's make sure those are sticking out nice and wide. There we go. Everything's in the correct position now. Quite impressed with that.